Hello. Welcome back, guys, to my channel, Reality TV Africa. And guys, I want to urge you guys to subscribe, like, turn on the notification button, share this video, guys, and please send it everywhere so that we can get this algorithm up, because over here we talk about everything reality, okay? And obviously we discuss some of the shows that I'm watching, and this review is on Mummy Club season 2 episode 4. And let me give this episode a rating. I usually like to rate the episode out of 10, 10 being very good and 1 being not so good. So I'll give this episode a 7, and only because finally the OGs have started to show that they can come back together and move forward and clean the slate, and let's start a whole fresh set of drama, because we're gonna leave last season drama in last season, and that's what made me at least feel like this episode was worth the watch. But it wasn't all that. I mean, it could have been better, but it's okay. So we start off the episode with them off the back of last week's dinner at the trip that Mrs. Mops is hosting, the girls' trip. The ladies have gone for a trip. I guess it's not too far out of town, for a couple of nights. And Mrs. Mops had a dinner where they, the first dinner where they're all, getting to know each other. And you can see Mrs. Mops being the matriarch and saying, guys, here we are at dinner, and can we just, clear things up and discuss a few things here and there. How is everybody feeling? I mean, I liked that she was trying to bring the group back together, and it was nice to see. I guess this is the Mrs. Mops that we wanted to see from the beginning, not the person kind of moving the chess pieces around the table and behind the scenes kind of stirring things up. Well, I guess I'm sure that's what she's gonna be. Maybe she's learned from last season and the feedback that came through. During the reunion, the tweets were coming through and people were calling her messy. So maybe she's decided she's not gonna be that this season. Maybe. It's still too soon to say. Well, the ladies talked about their marriages and, whether they're in happy marriages. Mrs. Sunday is kind of sitting in the background, and she said, hey, I've been happily married for, I think she said 7 years, been with her person, double that amount of time. And and Nozipo, obviously, I think the whole thing about the issues in her marriage has gone around the group, and I think they just wanted to get a feel of her. I mean, this is the first time they're all sitting down. Not really the first time, but in close proximity and together as in a trip. And anyway, it's not the first time, but I guess maybe now they're warming up to each other. And they wanted to get a feel of her. And obviously, what I'm getting from Nozipo is she's not willing to divulge too much. Hopefully, in the end, we'll get to see what these issues are in her marriage. But the conversation was interesting in terms of, would you stay or would you leave if things got tough? And I kind of liked Nunurai's perspective of, as a lady, if you're not in any imminent danger or, any harm is coming to you from your spouse, plan yourself, be strategic. What was the word she used? Nunurai said, be calculative. That's what she said, and I can respect that. In the sense that if you don't have a steady income, if you are relying on your husband's income, if you have kids, you need to take all that into consideration before you up and leave your husband. But Nozipo was of a different opinion. She was like, look, harm doesn't come just physically, it could be mentally. I mean, which is true. I can't knock on that. Mental health is a big thing. It's a big thing, and it can affect you for a lifetime. So staying in a marriage just because you're trying to be calculative and plan yourself and inadvertently getting harmed mentally, that's something obviously I wouldn't recommend. And yeah, that's where I kind of agreed with Nozipo in that sense. But on the flip side, I don't know who told Nunurai about. Wait, I think she did. I'm not sure, guys. Remind me. Did Nozipo mention her 8 kids in Nunurai's presence? I feel like she did. I mean, we're already 4 episodes in, and probably, but the fact that Nunurai kept talking about 8 kids and not a happy marriage, I think she was kind of trying to pull out of Nozipo what's going on in her marriage. It's like she was trying to pull it out of her, and Nozipo wasn't gonna bite. She wasn't gonna bite. She wasn't gonna take the bait and talk about it, because I can see she's holding back on talking about herself too soon. Hopefully, we will get to know what's really going on in her household, and I'm gonna talk about it later because a lot seems to be going on there. Well, one thing was clear when it came to Ratile and Happy. Happy obviously is not of the opinion of like marriage. It seems like she's like marriage is a scam, and obviously that line didn't sit too well with the rest of the ladies because most of them seem to be in happy marriages. Mrs. Sunday was like, speak for yourself, honey. Obviously we know Nozipo is experiencing some issues, but Nunurai seems to be in a happy marriage. Mrs. Sunday was very open and vocal about being in a happy marriage. Mrs. Mops is not really talking about her marriage. I mean, it must have taken a bit of a hit with the financial issues that took place during the break of the season, between season 1 and season 2. But she's not saying she's not in a happy marriage. She seems to be not saying much. We don't know. We wonder whether she'll open up. We hope she does, because I would have had a ton of questions from my husband, like, why are we in such financial constraints? You are the breadwinner, you're the head of the house, though Mrs. Mops seems to have her own thing going in terms of her career. So anyways, we hope she tells us about what was going on, or someone questions her in the group, because we want to know. We want the real. It is a reality show after all, right? And then the scene where we see Mrs. Mops, Nozipo, and Happy going to play tennis. Obviously, Mrs. Mops is shading Happy in her cute, outfit, and she didn't want to get sweaty, so she was not running around and, participating too much in the tennis. But anyway, some of these scenes are just to see the ladies come together to sit down and have a certain conversation. And clearly they were here after the game, they sat down, and the most interesting conversation that they had was Happy brought up polygamy. I guess it was a lead up to what she really wanted to talk about. It was Ratile's marriage, but obviously Ratile wasn't there. But interesting things that came out to me during this conversation is the fact that Happy said she would not mind being in a polygamous marriage. And what's interesting is what's currently trending and going on in Happy's life is allegedly she's with a married man. And a lot is going on with this said married man and his wife, who of course has been kicked out of their marital home. And allegedly the new cars that Happy is flaunting all over her Instagram are said married ladies and married man's cars. So what she's saying tracks with what's currently happening, that she would be open to a polygamous marriage. But obviously we know that she wanted to have that conversation with the ladies and Ratile. Then we get to the picnic which Mrs. Mops hosted. And for me, let me give you who I think had the best outfit. I loved Nunurai's look with the headband and the one hand dress. Very cute, very glam, very relaxed. The rest were all flowy and cute. I like the colors, the different colors. I mean, the ladies, the scene on camera played out quite well in terms of look and feel and colors popping. Yeah, and then we see obviously Mrs. Mops sitting in her HBIC nest, head bitch in charge, HBIC, and basically bring the group together and say, guys, what issues do we have on the table with each other? We're gonna start on a clean slate. And we see Nunurai and Happy discuss what happened at the reunion. Okay, for me, I have three ways probably of looking at this situation. Nunurai only called out what was already written in Happy's book. She didn't say anything that wasn't in the book. Now, Happy took it like, why would you pick out that negative thing to call out rather than all the other positive things? Well, to me, my perspective was first, okay, Nunurai, that was messy. Clearly, you're not in a good place with Happy, so makes sense. But what were you really alluding to? Were you alluding to the fact that, yes, Happy's mom contracted HIV and AIDS and passed away from it? May she rest in peace. And Happy's mom also mentioned that in the book, Happy mentioned in her book that her mom slept with several men. Well, what Nunurai was also saying is that it doesn't mean because she did sleep with many men is that she contracted HIV. But it felt like that's what she was alluding to. Or is it just me? Because back then, HIV/AIDS was a mystery. It was not well known. We were not as educated. Right now, if you use protection, there's PrEP, which is a pill you take before you have unprotected sex. There's a lot of education around the disease. It doesn't mean you have a death sentence just because you have it. There's antiretrovirals. There's all that. But back then, there was not that kind of education. So for me, Nunurai talking about her mom sleeping with many men and her mom passing away from HIV, it almost felt like she was putting the two together. And it almost felt like, was she trying to say something about Happy's upbringing or lack thereof? I don't know. Am I overthinking it? I don't know, guys. Comment below, chime in below in the comments. Please, maybe I'm not understanding what this issue is. But definitely in terms of Happy feeling like, why would she call those things out? Yeah, obviously, you guys are not in a good place. Why wouldn't she? And you wrote it in your book. So, but I like the fact that they could move forward from it. Yeah, to me, this is what I've been waiting for the last 3 episodes, because we don't want the newbies coming in and inheriting issues from last season with the OGs. So the fact that they decided to squash that beef and move past it, kudos to both of them. And then we see Happy. She could not wait to bring up Ratile's marital issues. She kind of baited it with the polygamy, and Ratile was like, who is she trying to talk about? And then she came out with it. Rati, what do you think of polygamy? And Ratile is like, look, there are people who subscribe to it. Personally, I don't. And she's like, so are you good? Are you okay? With everything that's trending on social media and your relationship. We know Happy is not friends with Ratile like that. I mean, okay, they made up off season, but there's still some underlying beef there. Anyway, the way Ratile handled it, she handled it like a pro. Baby, she told her, look, I'm good. What is of my concern is what is mine and my people, and that they're good. And of course, Happy was not letting that go. She was like, so is there a child? And Ratile is like, no, there was no child. So there was no child. No, there was no child. But Happy caught it. She was like, she did not deny the fact that there was another woman, but she obviously denied the child. Which begs to what's currently happening right now in Ratile's marriage. Could the reason be for the whole rumors of divorce? Could it be that now that there's really a child right now, could it be the reason why there was a bit of a situation with her and her husband and her mother-in-law? I feel like that could be it, or maybe not. I don't know. Can the people with all the tea come here and give it to me? To me, whatever is happening in Ratile's marriage, I feel like it's connected to these rumors we are watching on the show currently. I love the way Ratile was like, I am the wife and that's it. Any other person in this situation doesn't have a right to talk about anything. I am the wife. I am the one the family recognizes. I am a Mabitsela. I like the fact that she was like, period, end of story, let's dead that. Then we go to the cocktail making evening event, and we see the ladies obviously kick it. I like them that they were all in good spirits. Ratile and Mrs. Mops were paired together and didn't seem like they have any issues. I mean, coming off the back of last season, I guess the issues weren't that deep. And Mrs. Mops is just keeping it light. You know, she's the glue to the group. I like the vibes. I like the vibes. And then we see Happy tell Nosy, can we have a seat? Can we sit down and talk? And this scene to me was quite interesting. The fact that it felt like Happy was trying to draw out of Nosy what is going on. I mean, she did talk about her daughter, Nosy's daughter Coco, opening up to her daughter Titi, and we saw that when Coco broke down, when they had gone, I think during one of the first scenes that they all had together, the mummies and the two girls. And yeah, we could see Coco, there's a lot going on. To me, when I saw that scene with Coco and Titi, it seemed like Coco was crying over the issues going on at home with Nosy and Nosy's husband. But from this conversation between Nosy and Happy, it seemed like something tragic has happened to Coco. And honestly, it seems like it's a very sensitive situation. I'm not gonna guess. Let's hope whatever it is, we as the audience get to know about it, because we're already being teased with it. I don't know. But yeah, Happy was definitely looking like she was trying to draw it out of Nosy, but Nosy was not gonna bite. She's mom. She was quiet. She was like, thanks for checking in with me. I appreciate it. Coco is fine. And yeah, in her confessional, she said, me and my husband, we're taking care of Coco, and we're, the boys are also checking in on her, and she's good. It's alluding to something really serious. I don't know what it could be, but hopefully we find out. We don't know. I don't know. What I'll say is there's a lot going on in that household, and marital issues, Coco's issues. Now that we've been teased about it, can we kind of know about it? We want to know. We want to know now that it's been mentioned, I guess. Then we see the upcoming episode, and guys, this episode we didn't see the nannies, but I am looking forward to seeing that conversation with the nannies. We see Katlego is back with the crew, and of course the new nanny joins them. I think Zipo's nanny joins them, and Barbara is not holding back the punches. She's like, you guys were not there for me when I was going through it. I like the fact that the nannies also have a storyline. I hope that this airtime will help Barbara get a very, very good opportunity. And even maybe the nannies, maybe getting a spin-off show. Who knows? I mean, already they're getting their own scenes. I like it. It's cute. It's interesting. It's adding to layers. It's adding layers to the whole thing. I love it. And then, we see Nosy. Nosy clearly in this upcoming episode is not gonna be on the mute challenge. It looks like she's throwing jabs at Ratile. I'm not sure. I didn't really catch what she was saying. I don't know if it was to allude to with Ratile's marriage, but whatever it is, at least we're gonna start afresh with the drama. The OGs and the newbies are gonna definitely get into some things. And then we see Mrs. Sunday looking all distraught and crying, and I mean, she did mention she was not feeling well in this episode. So I don't know if that's what escalated and led her to leave, but she was saying, these ladies, I can't hang out with them. Something ain't right there. I hope she's not leaving for good. One thing I must call out is Mrs. Sunday's confessional makeup in this episode. It wasn't really matching with the rest of her body. It was too bright. Makeup guys, do better. I can see they're also bringing in calling out the people who are doing the makeup, the outfits. It seems like it's the same stylist and makeup artists doing their looks, and it's nice to see that they're being promoted in the confessionals. But yeah, Mrs. Sunday's makeup, no, it wasn't working for me in this episode in the confessionals. Too bright compared to the rest of her skin tone. So guys, that's it for me today. I hope you like this review. Please like, subscribe, turn on the notification button, share, so we can bring this algorithm up and get a lot of people to my page. And yeah, so that I can keep doing this, keep bringing these reviews. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying watching the shows along with me, and I guess I'll see you next week. Bye.